Hello and welcome to Shine Online Collective Summit. We're so grateful you're here. We're going to begin with an opening meditation and prayer by Erin Gugino, founder of Seed of Consciousness.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today. It's such an honor to be here. And I'm feeling the excitement, the collective excitement from everyone, as my heart is pitter-pattering. So I'm just going to ask for all of us to gently close our eyes and to take some nice, deep, nourishing breaths together here. And so maybe starting inhaling in through your nose, allowing the air to come and fill your belly, and pausing at the top of that inhale for just a second. And then now releasing all of that air out. Now, this time inhaling in through the nose, filling up your rib cage, pausing for a moment at the top of the inhale, and then releasing either out through your mouth or your nose, whatever is most comfortable. There are no rules. Again, inhaling in through your nose, filling now your chest and your heart with this beautiful breath of life, sacred element of air, filling up your chest and your heart, pausing for a moment, now releasing it. And you can continue these breaths if you like throughout this few minutes of guided transmission, or you can just come into a more natural flow of your breath, whichever feels more resonant with you. And as you're breathing or just being, I'm going to go ahead and bring in this beautiful diamond rainbow light frequency. I'm going to ask that I'm able to pour it all through the top of your crown, the top of your head, through your entire body and all around you, allowing this beautiful diamond rainbow light to nurture, nourish, expand, and create this divine resonance of peace, calm, and love throughout your entire being. You'll hear me breathing and making some sounds, perhaps, as I'm calling in this frequency for all of us. And just allowing yourself to receive. Your beautiful goddesses all here gathering and showing up for one another, for yourselves, and for this beautiful earth. And we honor that. And as this frequency continues to cascade through the center of your body, all the way down, 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 through each and every chakra, coming out the bottom of your feet and cascading all the way down through these roots that extend from the bottom of your feet down into our beautiful Mother Earth, Gaia Sophia. And as this takes place, you're connecting with her heart space, with her heartbeat in the most loving and gentle way. As you're grounded into your physical body with this cascading rainbow diamond light down into that crystalline diamond core and heart space of Gaia. You now are going to bring back up through that central channel and through those roots this beautiful balance of her earth, fire, water, and air elements, communicating to each and every one of the cells in each and every one of your bodies, pure unity consciousness, pure unconditional love, bringing you back into the frequency and resonance of your divine blueprint, which is your birth right here. And as this energy continues going up your central channel, it now moves out of the top of your crown chakra, moving all the way up through this beautiful platinum light column that's extending all the way up into the womb of Divine Mother, the womb of all that is, this infinite space. And as you connect in the most graceful and fluid way to this womb, from there now moving back down, bringing forth Divine Mother's womb water and these platinum light frequencies down through and into your top of your head, into your crown, gently flowing down now into your heart space, into that magnificent, expansive heart space. And as this light frequency gently pulls within this heart space, moving in a gentle clockwise rotation, allowing yourself to breathe and be, and allowing yourself to release anything that no longer serves you, any of that tension or restriction or contraction that's taken place as a result of what's going on currently in the world, or maybe it's what's going on just within yourself, and just allowing in that pure space, free of judgment, free of criticism, allowing yourself to get into pure communion with that sacred heart intelligence that lies within each and every one of us. And as you do this beautiful energy continues to move in this clockwise rotation, illuminating the center point of your crystal heart space, and now radiating out gently and slowly beyond your physical body into your field. And as it does so, we ask that all of those here joined today are able to connect this beautiful heart frequency and join in this quantum heart coherence here and now together, creating this beautiful container of pure love and acceptance, feeling safe, feeling nurtured and nourished. Taking a few soft breaths now and sending it all the way down, grounding yourself into the here and now, into your physical selves. Giving a moment, bathing in this beautiful light frequency, honoring one another and honoring ourselves for being here together. And when you're ready, coming back into the here and now. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
Erin, that was so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you love that meditation, if you're feeling lighter, you can give Erin a namaste or some love in the chat. So we're going to move now to our talks. And, I don't think there's any single one of us who hasn't experienced some amount of fear during this time. And so I'm so grateful that we have Amelia Travis here to talk with us. She's going to be talking about the fog of fear and how to move through it. She is a dear friend, a mentor, a business coach, and an incredible medicine woman. So, Amelia, over to you, my friend.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so checking in. If you cannot see my face right now, in the top right-hand corner of your little black screen, you'll see that there's a grid that has 9 little boxes. That's the gallery view. That's where you're going to see a lot of faces. You can also click that and just see one big face, which hopefully right now will be mine. Hopefully. I still see Emily's, but you know what? It's going to work. So welcome. Thank you guys for being here. I've given this talk about fear a few different times. And today I was really feeling like I normally open by asking everybody to share what they're afraid of. And I just want to acknowledge right now that we're experiencing a good amount of collective fear. So what I'm going to do instead is just ask everybody to, for a moment, close your eyes, drop into your body, and just notice if you're having any fear or anxiety, just checking in with where that sensation is. Where do you feel it? Maybe you feel a tightness in your chest or a pit in your belly. And then I want you right now to go ahead and just raise your hand if you've had any fear around the coronavirus, around yourself getting sick, friends or family members getting sick, around your finances being affected, around the infrastructures of society being affected. Go ahead and put a hand up. Raise your hand if you're currently experiencing fear around your family specifically and them being okay. Go ahead and keep your hand up. Raise your hand if you're experiencing fear around what's going to happen for the planet, what's going to happen after this, where we're going from here. Keep your hands up. And then raise your hand if you're experiencing just any generalized fear of the unknown and of the great shift that is upon us. Keep your hands up. Open your eyes. I'm going to click on that view. Every single hand is up. So you can put your hands down. We're in this together. Welcome to being human, right? We're all doing it afraid, right? And actually, this time is not really different than any other time. We've always been doing it afraid. This is just a different opportunity to be aware of our fear and how it is leading us towards change. So I'm going to talk today about the fog of fear, and I'm going to talk about making friends with fear, because that may feel like it's really challenging to do right now, but I really believe that that's actually the opportunity that's available to us. But first, we need to identify, like, what is fear, right? We think of fear as an emotion, but fear is actually a physiological response to the belief that a threat exists. So when I say that, I mean, fear is actually a feeling, right? It becomes an emotion when we attach it to a thought, but it's actually a feeling. And the feeling lives in our body. It lives in our sensory system. And it's in response to a belief that a threat exists. So this is important. When we believe that there's an impending loss, or that I'm going to experience pain, or that something is leading towards suffering, then we go into fear. And it's that intersection of the heart beating faster, the hands sweating, and then the thought that's reinforcing it. So fear is this interplay of thought and feeling. And then we have its cousin, anxiety. And anxiety is the fear of fear, right? Fear says, watch out, there's a tiger over there. The tiger might eat you. And our body responds. Anxiety says, there's not a tiger right now, but there could be a tiger anywhere. It might be around that corner, and you should be afraid that the fear may come. So right now we have this time of heightened fear, heightened anxiety. Where is it actually coming from? It's coming from 2 main places. One is conditioning, right? So we have a nature and nurture situation with fear. So our conditioning is what our parents taught us. It's what we learned in school, in church, from our institutions, from the media. There's all kinds of conditioned fears, right? Fear that you shouldn't wear that outfit because people might think it looks silly. Fear that if you speak up at your job, you might make a fool of yourself. Fear that if you pursue the big dream that's on your heart, you might fail and everything will fall apart. Fear that if you tell that person that you like them, that you may be rejected, right? There's all kinds of fears that we're conditioned into, things that we're taught to believe may pose a threat. And then there's our cellular fear. There's our genetic fear. We actually have fears that we also inherited. and I believe there's mostly women on this call, so I'm going to speak to this. If you're a sexed female, if you're born into a female body that has ovaries and eggs, when you were 5 months gestation in your mother's womb, your eggs developed. That means when your mama was 5 months old in her mother's womb, you were an egg, right? So when you were in your grandmother's womb, you were actually being imprinted and encoded with fear responses based on her environment. So we are not just carrying our own fears, but we're carrying inherited fears that are meant to protect us from the threats that existed for our ancestors. So we're embodying not just our own learned fears, but also the fears of our ancestors. And fear is actually not our enemy. Fear thinks it's doing us a favor, right? Fear says, I'm here to protect you. I'm here to light a fire under your ass so that when there's a threat, you move, you do something, right? It is doing us a favor. It is doing us a favor. It's here to help us. And what we're seeing right now in the collective is a beautiful, powerful response to fear, right? We have this fear, the fear of the tiger. The fear motivates us to not get eaten, right? Because it lights us to hopefully run. The fear that we're experiencing right now in the collective of this virus and of the change that may happen in our society because of it, that fear is what's motivating us to slow the spread. It's what's motivating us to stay home right now. It's what's motivating us to change the infrastructures that are supporting us for healthcare and for the economy. It's creating change because we're responding to it, right? So when we're facing fear, we have these two options. We can avoid it or we can expose ourselves to it. And whatever we choose is going to be what determines the cycle of fear. So if we choose to avoid the fear, we ignore it, we run away from it, we don't lean into it, we set ourselves into a pattern of fear avoidance. And when we avoid, we don't learn from what we would if we engage with the fear. And when we don't learn, we set ourselves up to stay in failure. And then that keeps this cycle going. But we have this other option of when we're encountering fear that we can make friends with it, we can move with it, we can lean into it, we can step into that fog. And this is called exposure. And exposure right now feels like a scary term, right? But exposure simply means we're going to face it, we're going to respond rather than react, we're going to habituate our nervous systems to the fear, and we're going to learn so that we increase our mastery, we increase our excellence, we find ourselves better able to navigate the uncertainty, the chaos that is inherent in every single moment. So the truth is we're not meant to stay in fear, right? We have two options. We can react, we can respond. So when we react, we go into the freeze mode, right? Paralysis. This is where fear activates resistance. And we just are like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to just stay right here and not move. We have the fuck it all and run response, which is like, I'm just going to hightail it the other direction, avoid this and not engage. And we have the fade experience and recede. And that's dissociation. That's numbing. That's like, I'm afraid, so I'm going to get drunk, or I'm going to use drugs, or I'm going to just zone out, right? Maybe in Netflix. And there's no guilt or shame associated with this. I'm just saying these are ways that we can allow the fear to hold us in reaction. But then we also have the opportunity to respond. So when we respond to fear, this looks like flowing energy and research, getting curious and leaning in. You guys may have heard the expression face everything and rise. This is like seeing the fear, calling upon your inner reserve of strength and moving towards it. We also have the response option of faith, energy, and receiving. And this is where we believe that our beliefs and our expectations are actually determining factors in our experience. And so we choose a different vibration. We choose to elevate, like Brooklyn just helped us do, and we choose to go into a different vibration so we can receive a different result. So when we're making friends with fear, I have a little acronym, FEAR, friends, engage, and respond. So how do we engage and respond with fear in a constructive way? Well, fear ultimately boils down to two actual fears, right? You can follow pretty much any fear that you have, and it's going to land you in one of two places. It's going to land you in death, or it's going to land you in inability to procreate and being cast out of the tribe. So maybe I'm afraid of asking for a raise at work because I'm afraid that if I ask for what I need, I'll be told no, I'll be shunned, I'll be rejected. That's actually coming from a deep fear that if I'm rejected, that I'm not able to find a partner, I'm not able to procreate, I'm not able to keep things ongoing, or I'll be cast out of the tribe and I will be eaten by the tiger and I will die. Right? So if you follow your fear, it's usually going to lead you to either death or this inability to procreate and being cast out of the group. And so when we can follow the fear and when we can actually get to know it, then we can change it and we can shift into a different vibration. So I'm going to share with you 6 steps that are very helpful for transmuting your fear. And this is the acronym of FRIEND. So 1 is to find and define your fear. So right now, I want you guys to think about something that you're actually really afraid of, and you can share it in the comments. This can be a big dream, something that you want to do, but you're currently being held back. It could be a fear around what we're currently experiencing. Anything, just drop it into the chat, something that you're afraid of. And then I want you to follow that fear, and I want you to find and define where it's actually coming from. Okay, so Rochelle's terrified of losing her business. So this is a perfect example. If we follow that, it's the fear of loss. It's the fear of not having resources. It's the fear of, because of not having those resources, going into starvation, and from starvation, death. Right? Rachel says she's afraid of not having a baby in her own family. So that is directly the fear of inability to procreate, inability to continue the line, right? Amelia says fear of using her voice loudly and being shunned and facing violence. So again, that fear of using her voice is leading to social rejection, is leading to isolation, is leading to no resources, is leading to death. So you can see how when you follow your fear, it's going to lead you to one of these places. Then we want to research it. The second step is research. Look for the origin point. When was the first time you felt that fear? Look for the activator or the trigger. What is the thing that makes you feel the feeling of fear related to that thought in your body? When was the last time you felt that? With what frequency? With what intensity? What are all your past experiences of feeling fear of this? And maybe it's going back to the last time you felt it, the time before that, and the time before that, until you eventually find the origin point. And maybe you won't, because maybe it's in a past life, or maybe it is in your DNA. Then we're going to investigate the fear, and we're going to ask, what is true? What actual threat is present? Is this a tiger? Is it going to eat me? Or is this an ego threat? Right? Then we'll evaluate and elevate. So this is where, once we've identified if the fear is valid or if it's an ego threat, we're going to shift, just like we just did, shift our consciousness, shift our vibration, come into that heart-brain coherence, expand the toroidal field, expand your energy state, and you can reweave the vibration, that the fabric of reality. And then you're going to name a plan, and then you're going to do it now. So naming a plan is making a conscious choice of a different way of responding to the fear. So instead of reacting, instead of saying freeze, fuck it all, fade, experience, dissociate, we're going to move into a different choice, a different belief, and a different action. Because ultimately, and I'm seeing so many beautiful fears being shared here, ultimately, both of these fears, death and inability to procreate, actually boil down to just one single fear. And it's the fear that's holding all of us, or many of us right now. And that is the fear that something will happen and we will not be okay. That's it. It's simply the fear that when we die, we will not be okay, or our family will not be okay. It's the fear that when we're rejected, we will not be okay. It's ultimately this fear that says, I'm not going to make it. So what is true? What is true, one, is that you are resilient, and that you have faced fear many, many times before, and that you have found a way to flow, to find the faith energy, to rise, to face it. You're still here, standing, breathing, moving, living, in spite of all of the times that you felt like you didn't know what would happen and you didn't know if you would be okay. So what is true is that you are resilient, and you have been through hard things before, and you will make it through hard things again. What is true is that what holds us, Gaia Sophia, the mother, this planet, our earth, that she too is resilient, and she will carry on, just as she has done for a long, long time. What is true is that at some point, all of us will die. And what comes beyond that, we don't know. But many of us have beliefs, some that are comforting, some that are scary. But the truth is that we are all going to the same place, somewhere beyond here, a different form of energy. And what is true is that fear has the purpose and the potential to help us change, to help us move. And I know every person here has been praying for change for many years. We have been asking for something to shift, and it's here. And the fear is here with it, but we can choose to elevate. We can choose, because ultimately fear says to us, you're not in control. And because this is not predictable and this is not in control, you need to be afraid because you don't know what's going to happen. And guess what? Fear's right. We're not in control. We're not in control. Conditions are fundamentally unreliable. Change is constant. And maybe you subscribe to the fact that you are not in control, but you are deeply loved by the one who is. Maybe you subscribe to the belief that you are not in control, and that's okay because ultimately everything is chaos, and from chaos comes emergence. Maybe you recognize that this is not a linear A to B, if this then that, but it is a big stirring pot of the great unknown, and from that, something beautiful will rise. So as you encounter your fear here in this space, I just invite you to consider that fear has a message for you. It wants to raise your awareness and open your eyes so that you can examine what is true. And when you connect with what is true, you will find that you were born for this. You signed up for this. You incarnated at this time because you knew that you could move through this fog of fear, holding on to the hands of your sisters and your brothers and the others who are holding this vibration for the potential of this change. And that even though we cannot see what is coming, that we can walk through that fog of fear, that we can make friends with it, that we can bathe in it, and we can know that we're going to come out on the other side to a world that we don't currently recognize. We don't know what it's going to look like, but we're going to make it to that space together. So I hope that this has shifted your perspective on fear, and I would invite you to journal as you leave here today. What are you afraid of? And then follow these 6 steps, and I'll make sure that I share them with Emily so that you guys can have those journal prompts going forward. Blessings to you. Back to you, Em.
Thank you, sister. Oh my gosh, I have goosebumps all over my body. That was amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, I think in many ways we're being asked to start anew right now, but it can feel so overwhelming in terms of where to start. And so we're so fortunate to have Gretchen Hickmott here with us today to share her magic. She's going to be sharing a shamanic perspective on beginning. And Gretchen is a counselor, an intuitive arts educator, and a shamanic practitioner. So over to you, Gretchen.
Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome, and so much love to all of you wondrous women out there. That was amazing, Amelia. Thank you so much. You rocked everyone's world. We needed that. And I also love the fire that you brought to that. I think that being able for all of us to be able to connect into that energy, to meet the fear, to meet the tiger, and to feel you were able to, lend your power to all of us. So thank you so much. That was absolutely beautiful. Okay, so the talk that I'm going to be giving today, and I think that works well after Amelia's journey through fear. Really, really beautiful. I'm going to be talking today about preparing in the dark. And this is a shamanic approach to beginning. So we sit here in this moment in time, and we really are all in the void, right? Outside, we can feel the chaos churning and halting the world. And as we pull inward, we have an opportunity to see ourselves, our purpose, our priorities, our world, our path from a different perspective. And when what we are seeing in the world doesn't make any sense, as it doesn't right now to so many of us, it's really good to remember that everything in nature belongs. Everything is cyclical. Viruses occur regularly as part of nature. They belong in the organized patterns of life. They have consciousness and they have wisdom. We are being reminded right now as a species that we are an inextricable part of nature. And we are all one, human to human, human to all other life forms on this earth. It is an extraordinary time to connect to our collective compassion, to our humanity, and to our kindness. So if we listen right now, we can hear that we are all being called to pull back into center, to simplify our energy and to face ourselves and our relationships to life with some compassion and integrity, to find humor and love and courage, so that when we do begin again, when the world makes it through this current crisis and comes into its next stage, its emergence, we are already in a deeper way. So the void where we're sitting now is a really powerful place to be. We sit in the dark of possibility and new perspective. And so we're all in unknown territory right now. And in unknown territory, our senses are really keen. They're really alert. They're really open. And so for all of you that have been silently or not so silently praying for just a minute in your lives to catch your breath, a moment for solitude, a moment for rest, a moment to get in touch with something in yourself that you just have not been able to get to for all of the noise and productivity, here it is, right? Not how any of us expected it to show up, but such is life. Here it is in a really unusual package. And so we have been offered time and perspective and space. Unless you are a parent right now trying to work remotely and homeschool your kids, then you may not have any of this stuff. And for that, I offer you a hug, right? You are already a superhero. But, really it is time and space and perspective that we always need before we start in a new direction. So we need them as a society and we need them as individuals. So many of you are here today for personal and professional support to move forward in some way, whatever that might look like. And maybe that's just moving through fear. Maybe you are planning on working on some projects during this time ahead. Maybe you're working on letting yourself be easy and do a little bit less. Whatever it is that you are working on this next while, I am offering you to assist that process, a really brief introduction to the medicine wheel as a process for healing and growth and beginning. So you'll need a pen and a piece of paper. If you have that available, I'll give you a second to get that. Okay, so in shamanic practice, we do not begin without first preparing, right? So we prepare in the dark, so to say. We bring what is unconscious into consciousness, into integrity, and into clarity, right? Just as Amelia helped us to bring the nebulous, abstract fear into a phrase. What am I afraid of, right? We bring it into consciousness. What is here? And then we work to bring that into integrity and to bring it into clarity, so that when we do begin, whatever that beginning might look like for you in the time ahead, when we do begin, we are ready, right? We've brought a little bit of consciousness to it, a little bit of integrity, a little bit of clarity. So today, I'm going to teach you how to use a medicine wheel as a guidance map and a process for getting yourself a little bit more ready to take a new step forward in your life in whatever way that looks for you right now. And so we can use this medicine wheel over and over again for all of your small and large steps forward. So I want you to please draw a big circle in front of you with the 4 directions on it. The top is the north, bottom is the south, left is the west, and right is the east. Okay, so this is your compass. This is your medicine wheel. And so we walk around this wheel one direction at a time to clean up our energy, to clean up our intentions and our actions so that we can walk well in the world. So please draw. Okay, so we've got that, and we're going to take with our medicine wheel. We're going to take one issue or theme that we wish to work on and put it through the directions to clarify and align ourselves regarding that issue. So today, in this talk, because I'm going to try to be somewhat brief, this talk is also an audio recording, so you can all revisit this after the talk. You may not have time to move around all of these different directions. I like to take, I myself like to take, a bit of time in each one of the directions. So I'm just going to lay out the land for you so that you have this process to use in your own good time. So we take one issue or theme that we want to work on and we put it through the directions to clarify and align ourselves regarding that issue. Okay. So let's look at these directions. So the east represents a new step forward in leadership, but please note that this is the last step on the medicine wheel. It is not the first. It is born of conscious preparation, right? So to begin our work today, we're going to begin in the south. We're going to begin in the south and we're going to move clockwise. So the first step is in the south, and I want you to write shedding and return to innocence here in the south direction. So in the south, we take whatever issue or layer that we are working on and we shed and eliminate what is unnecessary, right? So that might be the beliefs that we're holding about it. That might be, a relationship that we are holding with something in some way. This is whatever we find and can locate to be unnecessary regarding this issue. Whatever is weighing down the movement here, this is a place where we shed, where we return. So it is about letting go of what is extraneous and needs shedding. And I would also like to say that I fully believe that letting go, we hear a lot of that in, pop consciousness talk. And I do, and I love the idea of letting go. I also think it's really important for all of us to recognize that letting go comes from a process, usually grief, reckoning with the thing that we are working on healing. Letting go is more an end product of being able to really work through a layer than it is of just saying, hey, I'll forget about it, I'll toss it out, right? That's probably a little bit more suppression. So in the south, we want to shed and return to innocence. What is obscuring my lightness of being? What is obscuring my innocence here? What can I let go of that is weighing me down? So that's the south direction. You might spend some time in the south, right? You might spend a week, a couple weeks, a month in the south, depending on the size of the issue that you're working on. And so from the south, once we have been willing to lighten our load a little bit, shed a little bit of what is unnecessary, what is extraneous, we move into the west. The west is for facing it with integrity. So I want you to write facing it with integrity in the west. Okay. So now that we have simplified and shed a bit of what is unnecessary, what needs facing? What do we need to honestly look at and bring into integrity and do here in the West? So if we can think about the global situation right now, right? First, we were in the South. Hey, we're in the dark. We're in denial. We are, we don't really know what's happening. This is all obscuring our innocence. We're not quite sure what to do with this, right? So, and then we shed that. We shed the illusion, we shed the denial, we shed the beliefs that we would rather have it be otherwise. And we move into the West and say, this is what's happening. And I need to face it. And I need to face my own responses to things that are happening. I need to take responsibility here. So in the West, we face it with integrity. seeing something as it is, seeing yourself as you are. And we do that with some compassion, right? So integrity, facing yourself with integrity doesn't mean that we don't have compassion or gentleness or kindness. And in fact, that's a really good way of looking at yourself always, right? That should be part of one's integrity. So in the West, we've simplified, we've shed some of what is unnecessary. The global society has said, okay, we're shedding productivity. We are simplifying the energy. We're all going to pull back into center, and we are going to just do what we need to do to get by each day. And right. So this is part of that shedding. Then we move into the West. We're facing it with integrity. And so in the West, we ask ourselves, what do we need to face and take responsibility for in order to move forward? How does that work with this issue or this layer that we're working on? So in the West, we agree to not hide from it, right? We face it, we own it, and we responsible adult all over it. So this is the West. Okay. So from the West, we move now into the North, the top of the medicine wheel. And in the North, we take the impossible journey towards love and self-reference, right? So facing it, if we look at the global situation, how do we go from an experience of, okay, this is reality and I have to face that, to finding love, to finding self-reference? Okay, so am I in a space of love right now? Am I in a space of trust and faith? Am I in a space of authenticity, right? And so if you want to equate that to something that you're trying to accomplish in business or in personal growth, am I doing this because I love it? Am I doing this because I believe in it? Am I doing it because it is authentic for me? So here we're asked to make sure that the step we're about to take, or the space that we are currently in our life, our actions are not about receiving the applause from other people, right? We learn to shine our energy and our work out into the world from a humble and honest place. And this frees us from manipulating our life and our career to get validation from others, right? In order to fill whatever might be missing, whether that's low self-esteem, etc. And so in the North, I offer this to the world because I love it, because it is rooted in love, because I am rooted in love, because it is true for me, because it is an expression of deep authenticity. This is in the North. So easy enough, haha, just kidding, right? We might need to stay there a little bit and do some work. And that's true for each and every one of these directions. So from the North, now we move to the East. Now we are ready to begin. Here we are ready to take a new step forward into leadership. We've shed something unnecessary. We've faced what we've needed to face with integrity, and we have agreed to offer service and to offer our energy out into the world without betting our self-worth on external validation. So now we are ready to begin, right, with a step forward on our path in the East. So this is a very, very brief introduction to the medicine wheel, right? It's an ancient and rich and deep tool. And so this is just a dusting, but since we've all got some time on our hands over the next weeks and months, and if you are wanting to visit some of what's happening on a deeper layer, this is an incredible tool to use. You can use it over and over and over again. So when using this wheel, consider that you are working on one layer or one issue at a time. And that's really important for all of us right now. When there's a lot happening in the world, we want to be doing less, really attempting to be doing one thing at a time to simplify the energy, right? So when using this medicine wheel, we want to use one layer or one issue at a time. You're not addressing everything at once. Please don't do that. That gets really, really too convoluted. So, perhaps you're working on restoring health or maintaining sanity right now, or creative development, or perhaps you are working on a work project, some aspect of your professional development. Excellent. Just pick one specific thing to work through, one layer or one issue. This way you can really address it clearly and thoroughly. So when we finish an issue or a layer and we want to go deeper, because there's always more work to do, right? You get through one issue, or you think you got through one issue, and then you find another layer of it. Just put it back through this process, get back on the medicine wheel, take another trip around. So when we finish an issue or a layer and we want to go deeper, we take another trip around the wheel. So you can do this as many times as you wish, and do it gently. Do it persistently. This tool is always available to help you find a way forward if you are feeling lost, if you feel like you just need a little bit of traction, a little bit of direction. So the medicine wheel is a healing process. It is a way to restore balance. And so today I offer you a very, very brief introduction to this ancient tool. If you want to go deeper in this process, I'll send everybody here links. I'll be doing that outside of this course, or outside of today's summit. But this tool that I've offered you today, you can work with in your own way going forward, as often, as deep, as much as you like. So I hope that this has been helpful. This is a big and energetically chaotic and scary time for us in the world right now. So in times of complexity and of overwhelm, it's really an act of great kindness to remove items from your to-do list instead of stacking them. Rest is a vital part of leadership too. Maybe the issue you're working on is allowing yourself to rest. So rest is a vital part of leadership too. So let yourself do less in this time ahead. Rest, call your loved ones, hug your pets, read books, right? Be easy with yourselves, be really gentle with yourselves, and be gentle with each other. Everyone's in a lot of fear right now. And, we're not really at our best when we're in fear a lot of the time. So giving others a wide berth and a lot of compassion is also really, really important. And offering yourself that as well, right? So for the parents out there, if all you manage to do in the next while is get a little bit of sleep and keep your kids from putting each other in the microwave, you're doing excellent. You're doing amazing work, right? So the medicine wheel and what I've offered today is only if you wish for something extra, if you need a process to work this next little bit. And so take care of yourselves and each other over this next time. You are loved, you are seen, and you are all so appreciated, and you are supported. This community, connecting to each other energetically as we have today, there is support and love for you here, and it is always available for you. You're welcome to reach out at any point in time if you need love, if you need reassurance. That is what this is all about. You are surrounded by strong and loving and generous sisters who are absolutely happy to lend you energy should you need it in this next period of time. So thank you so much. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you so much, Amelia, for your wonderful, wonderful talk. And thank you, Emily, for having us all here today.
Yes, thank you, Gretchen. Thank you so much for sharing your magic. That was so helpful. And thank you for being a teacher for so many of us. This time right now definitely presents challenges, and it can feel chaotic. And so here to talk about some of the silver linings in this chaos is Penney Peirce. And Penney Peirce is a visionary. She is an early leader of the intuitive development movement, and she happens to be my favorite author in the entire world. She's written 10 books, so I'm going to hand it over to you, Penney.
Great. Thank you. This is great. I've really enjoyed all the information so far. But I want to kind of back up a little bit and let's talk about a little bit of an overview and what's happening behind the scenes. What's causing somewhat of this externalization of fear and what I think is a really incredible, powerful clearing process that's going on right now. So I'll kind of shorthand this for you because I've written about 10 books about this whole transformation process to try to get it into, what was it, 5 to 7 minutes you asked for. But basically, when I look down under the surface of what's happening in the physical world and go into the non-physical world, and I've been noticing for many, many years that the energy on the planet has been increasing in its frequency or vibration. Everything seems to be getting faster and faster and faster and faster. And, you know, even the Schumann resonance, which is that vibration in the center of the earth, I think it's the resonance between the center of the earth and the ionosphere. But it has gone up tremendously in just the last few years. And it spikes sometimes way higher than its normal resting state. So we all, I think, respond to these big waves of energy coming through. But that affects not just the planet itself, but of course it affects our bodies because we're made of matter. And so our bodies are increasing in frequency, and so is everything physical, actually. But then as the body increases in frequency, so do the emotions and so does the mind. And that causes all kinds of repercussions. So when the body goes faster, you know, it used to be that we could take all of the fears we had and the traumatic memories and everything, and we could just suppress it all down into the subconscious mind, which has a very strong connection with the physical body. It's kind of was a slower frequency of experience or knowledge. But as the body's frequency goes up, it's like you can't store that subconscious stuff down there anymore. You can't pretend it doesn't exist and that we don't have to look at it. So I think for quite a few years now, we've been noticing that things that we were able to ignore before are surfacing very rapidly. It's kind of like popcorn popping. And those things that were invisible before are now very visible. They're coming into the conscious mind, which, you know, for us individually, it's our daily reality. For if it's a societal surfacing of collective subconscious fears, of course, it's the current events, it's the news. That is happening on both levels. Each of us individually is having our fear surface. And collectively, there are so many overlapping points that there's a big flood of fear coming out into life these days. And, you know, as that happens, I think it's like it's happening for a very good reason. Because we are on a path to transformation and to clear ourselves of fear so that we can become more transparent. And by that, I mean, when you're not contracted and dense and holding on to all these old beliefs about how things can't work and how difficult life is and all that, you know, the soul can't get through. So as you clear the fears, which simply means getting a better understanding of why they were there, it's a lot of what Amelia talked about, at that point, then you understand it. And then it kind of vaporizes. And all that energy that you were holding in the fear lets go, and it goes back out into the unified field, and it's raw material again that you can use for creation. So we are in this huge process right now of clearing ourselves of our clutter, you know, of everything that's in the way of the soul coming through to guide us as our core self. You know, we're moving out of a kind of an ego-based reality into a soul-based reality. And you might say we're going from fear to love, but sometimes I don't like these words because they're so general. You know, we don't even know what they mean. But we have to understand the experience of what love or what unity is. It's like a feeling that we're all so connected that there's this mutual support that we have for each other. That if your life doesn't work, then my life doesn't work. And the thing that I want to do that's going to be my favorite thing is the thing you need. And what you want to do is going to be something I need. And there's this like amazing, perfect fit of things. And I think we're getting closer and closer to that. But in order to live in that permanently, you know, we have to get rid of everything in the way. And that's what's happening now. It's like Pandora's box has opened up and all these little demons are flying out, and we're dealing with them pretty much one by one. But because now it's such a proliferation of it all that it's like we're swimming around in this cesspool of everybody's junk, and it's very overwhelming. But now I've had this vision for a while that the years of 2020 through 2025 were going to be like really important. And I think that this year is the beginning of a radical shift. We've been preparing for it and getting ready and getting ourselves opened up and all. But this year, I was so excited when the year started. And then I was kind of surprised that the coronavirus started. I was like, I guess this makes sense, as to what the year is all about. So basically, I think that I'll try to weave a few of these things together. I think we're living right now in what I've been calling a bridge time. We are in between two different realities. The old reality is very much based on linear thinking. That's like past, present, future, end, cause and effect thinking, where we're perceiving the world as there is an inside and an outside, and we're separate from our goal, and it's over there, and the only way we can have it is by using a lot of willpower and cleverness to cross the empty gap to get to the thing we want. And that takes time. It makes things slow down, if that makes sense to you. But linear perception makes everything very slow and difficult. It seems difficult. But what's happening, because the frequency on the planet is increasing so much, is that time is also increasing and speeding up, or the illusion of it is. So that what's happening is that everything is coming into the present moment. Things are becoming more instantaneous. I don't know if you've all seen it, but I've been seeing a lot of instances of instantaneous healing starting to happen, or instantaneous clearing. Like, was I abused, or was that just my memory of that, or somebody else told me about that? It's like we're not holding a lot of our old tight fear memories anymore. A lot of that is clearing very quickly now. And so the old way is, when we have to think in left brain terms, let's say, I think the old perception of the old reality is very much around left brain dominance. Analytical, logical, everything's detailed. You have to have meanings for everything, and bit by bit processing. It's too slow. We cannot handle the data that we have right now to process it. So what's happening as we come into this huge present moment really is that we have to shift into the right brain and into direct knowing and into intuition. And we're finding that happening to us almost spontaneously now a lot. But the differences between the left brain and the right brain is left brain is always known because it is working with language and meaning and definition. As you shift to the right brain, there's no more language. There's direct knowing. You are immersed in life. You're not separate from anything. And in fact, I think Terence McKenna once said that it was that the whole function of the left brain was to interrupt the right brain so that we could know something. It's like, otherwise we just know it all, but without, defining it or making it conscious. So we do need the left brain, but it shouldn't be the boss. So we are learning to shift into the right brain to access truth and wisdom from the soul level, or from the collective consciousness level. And in order to do that, you have to stop talking. We have to get quiet and get into the present moment totally. And in a way, it's kind of like you stop time right then. When you stop talking and stop the inner voice and the inner dialogue, just get quiet, really quiet. now you stop time. And if you sit in that for a minute or so, this kind of big, huge, spacious opening happens. And then all the knowledge you need is sitting right there for you. And whatever you need sort of just pops in. It's like, and it's not coming from the past. And it's not coming from other people's realities that are telling you what you should do. It is coming straight from your next perfect thing, you know? So we are learning to go toward this new reality, new perception, which is basically, it's all in the present moment. There is no more past. There is no more future. The past and future have been swallowed up by this giant present moment. And the present moment then acts like a ball, like you're sitting in the middle of a ball, right? And the new thing that I've been writing about is spherical holographic perception. You have a ball, which is your present moment. It's your reality. It's your conscious mind. And it can expand and contract into different frequencies and move all around like the zoom lens on a camera. But when you're in that perception, there is no outside world. The minute you think of an outside thing, you've already encompassed it with your ball. So everything that you need is inside the ball with you. You have access to it. And the past is just, these are all potential realities, let's say, at different frequencies.
Yeah.
So you could go back into a past memory and you can penetrate into that bubble, and that's a ball of reality, and you could be in it remembering terrible things or wonderful things. Or you can go into something that we used to think of as future, but it's really a potential reality that is a different frequency of the one you're in now. So that if you shift your vibration and adapt yourself to that new bubble and merge into that bubble, you could be in that reality like that. You don't have to cross all this time and space to get there and put in your dues. If you imagine it fully and you place attention into it fully, it can start materializing around you. And that's why I say instantaneous, materialization, instantaneous healing, because we're really working now with what I often call the inner blueprint, the inner energy blueprint, right? Your etheric body, your inner pattern. And you change that with your imagination, with the power of attention. And so attention now becomes the most important skill we have, to be able to focus and hold attention on things and penetrate into things with attention and become other people with attention and feel what they feel through empathy. I mean, these are all going to be the skills of the new reality. So I'm kind of going off on a little tangent there, but what I feel then backing up to 2020 is that, the virus kind of took me by surprise, and then the falling of the stock market and the financial crisis is like, whoa, but it's almost like we went down to the bottom of Pandora's box and like dredged up all the little things that were left down at the very bottom and sort of bring those up too, and it's just like Amelia was saying, a lot of it just, when you look at why everybody's afraid, I think it harkens back to this fear of annihilation, or death. But I think annihilation is something, this fantasy thing that we have that's even greater than death, like it's some weird reality that we've dredged up from somewhere that doesn't actually happen, but we think of it. So we are at a crucial point where we can choose now between two realities. And that's why I think this year is so important, is that we need to get a clear sense of what the old reality is and how limited and old and antiquated and inefficient it is, and how it's ego-driven. And we're looking at all the rise of ego in the world. It's amazing, right? Do we want to live that way and choose fear as our reality and indulge in it and be a victim or a dominator? Or get centered, take a breath, come back to I call it your home frequency, which is kind of like the soul in the body vibe. like my happy state, my preferred state. Get centered again, open up, stop time, get your guidance, and then proceed by having an active relationship with the imaginal realm, and seeing other people as souls who want win-win-win situations. We don't want anybody to lose, or we lose.
Yeah.
You got to remember what's real now. And so this is really, I think, a very important turning point for each person. It's like every time you start to feel that contraction of, oh, I won't have enough money for my retirement, or, oh my God, I can't go out, or my father's going to die of the thing. And just stop, take a breath, and get recentered, and choose your vibration. Choose your reality. We're starting a new habit. And I partly I have seen this. I already feel like the pandemic thing is already over. Like I can feel it being already over. And now we're working backwards to see how we got through it. And I feel like as we come out of it, there's going to be all these, repercussions of it that we didn't expect. One is, it's almost like I feel like we were diving deep down into the ocean and swimming and then we come up suddenly and surface, like a dolphin or something, and then we're like clean, like whatever was all over us, this gunk has been washed off, and we're spacious. We have a very clean aura, and we're like kind of sparkly and like, whoo, all right, what was that all about? Now let's see what's real. What do I want to do next? Because I have a feeling we're going to feel so different. I talked to a friend and we were saying, like people who's lost their jobs now or can't work, what may happen is they may not want to go back to that job and live in that small reality. They may suddenly feel like, wait a minute, there's more for me. Do something more on my own, or get together with my friends and start a business or whatever it would be, and it's just a feeling that if you choose the new reality and the higher consciousness, this is going to change you so much. It's going to like expand your scope of your ball. You're going to go from living like this to like, boom. Now, what's that going to look like for each person? I don't know, but it might be not so much doing more and having to have more to do and being busy, not like that. It's going to be more effective and efficient. We're working on the inner realms in order to almost telepathically shift things, to with very little effort, working from the inner realms to affect the outer realm, to affect the form. And we're going to see how amazingly effective that's going to be. I was told just a few days ago that the voice said, as you see it, it is. And meaning that if I would look at a person and see what their soul is like and see how they could be and their potential and everything, it's going to connect to their inner blueprint, and they're going to start being more that way. In conjunction, of course, with their own vision, I'm sure. But that it wasn't just an idle thought anymore, So there's more power coming in these seemingly invisible ways. So I've made a couple things that I think we can do, to help stabilize ourselves during this time. And that is, like I said before, just center yourself really often. I mean, like you're washing your hands. Well, get back in your body and get real and remember who you are and your potential and what you love, and proceed as normal according to that. So shift out of your left brain when you can. In other words, stop talking into your head, and just be quiet and stop time. And wait sometimes. Just be quiet and wait for the thing to find you that you need. You got to make some space. So it's so great that we're quarantined, because it really gives us an excuse to do this. And then know that what you need to know is not going to come from your left brain, because the left brain is in the past. The left brain is reaction. It is not, like Amelia said, it's not responsiveness. It's not in the present moment. So see if you can learn to feel the difference between when the left brain is trying to be the boss and its information is not that accurate, versus the present moment where you're getting something that's really alive and juicy and just right. And then the other one is, and I'm giving this out as one of the freebies, is the imagine that your body is just filled with diamond light, glossy, clear, transparent, high intensity, pure diamond light. And you can imagine it even stepping inside of you if you want, but let it clear out your brain. Just kind of fall into it and say, fix me, like clear me of all my density, and let any fogginess or dark spots or contractions just get work done by that light, because that is really your soul, or the collective soul. It is a lot of higher wisdom and knowledge, and it doesn't have fear. So bring it in, sit with it. You can even drive with it while you're in it. It can be driving with you. And then I think I really feel like work on lifting people up. When you get into this fear and panic, you can't hear very well and you can't imagine things very well. So when you stay centered, you can really see people more accurately, and then put some attention into lifting them and giving them a positive vision of how you see them and how you feel them to be. It's a great service that we can offer others, and it's not that hard, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of a game that we can play to entertain ourselves. I always say that self-entertainment is a very high state, so lift people up, and you can do this telepathically too. You don't have to always talk it, but you can verbalize it as well. And then finally, I would think it's important to re-examine your beliefs and your plans for the year. Like you may have had before all this certain plan for growing your business or whatever you were going to do. And I'd like you to take a look and see, is this coming out of an old perception view where there's a need for a lot of willpower or a lot of cleverness or, some sort of power over or something with difficulty? Or can you slide into the new perception where you're connected to all the beings and everybody's helping you, and anything you need, you can ask for it and you'll get it, and things can be very frictionless. And it's not without working, of course, but work doesn't seem like effort. It's much more about just something you feel like doing. You're following your curiosity. You're getting involved in the task and enjoying it, So think about how it would be, if the world were working with you to help you achieve the thing that it needs you to share. Okay. So, and maybe you might sit in your meditation and think about what your scope might expand to if you encompassed, even 50% more of reality than you presently are. All right, so I'll leave you with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Penney. Thank you so much for helping us navigate this time. That was so helpful. And I truly believe that by gathering here together, we are collectively raising the vibration of the planet. And it is so beautiful and so powerful. And yet when we get off the call today, we will all return to the ups and downs and the stimuli of what's happening in the world right now. And so I'm so grateful to have someone here on the call who can give us tools to maintain our light and raise our vibration in times of uncertainty. I am so excited to turn it over to rockstar shaman Allison Charles. She is an internationally renowned TV host medicine woman and spiritual awakener. So Allison, I'm so excited for you to share your magic with us today. Hold on one second. Can everyone hear her? There we go. Nope. Let's see. No, we can't hear you yet. Not yet. While Allison's getting her mic turned on, if everyone can just share in the chat right now what have been. Oh, yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You can?
Yes.
Loud and clear, or is it weird?
Loud and clear.
Oh, praise God. Okay. 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 So yes, getting centered. Thank you so much, Emily, for being such a beautiful light. It's been so nice to be emailing with you lately, and I'm glad that we were able to conjure this love and light today. And hello to everyone. I've been kind of scanning through your pictures in the gallery and just, into everyone here. It's a really beautiful group. I'm going to keep my offering as streamlined as possible. So I'm just going to tune in real quick here and see where to go. So the word surrender just keeps coming in, and I had a beautiful moment at my altar this morning. For any of you that are familiar with my work, you already know that surrender is a huge part of my teachings. After my divine intervention and spiritual awakening moment in time, it was a very specific day and turning point in my life that happened through the grace of God and Great Mother Earth and my soul readiness. But then the next key step that I chose to take after the divine intervention was surrendering. And it was fascinating at my altar this morning. The first place I got guided to go within my own self was to re-surrender. And it's been so beautiful hearing all of the different sisters sharing. It's such a testament that we really are all one, and we are in this collective consciousness, because so much of what they shared is what has been coming through to me, and the medicines and messages I've been receiving as well. And through this resurrendering, it's really going to help all of us recalibrate, because I'm sensing that a lot of people on this call are healers, way showers, light workers, whatever these human words are that we want to call who we are. And I personally have noticed that in these old worlds, old paradigms, new worlds, new earths, new paradigms, crumbling and birthing, and these tectonic plates of unseen realms and energy systems kind of going like this right now more than ever. You may have noticed that some of your previous practices that were able to clear your field instantaneously or get you back to center right away, perhaps they're just not doing what they did even 5 days ago or 2 weeks ago. So I think it is really important that if surrendering is something that your soul feels comfortable doing, that you tune into that possibility. And I personally surrender down into Great Mother Earth, Pachamama, and then I rise up into the center line of my being, go into my heart specifically, open up the divine wisdom, love, light, and truth that is me and that lives within me, and then rise up and take my source light beam up into Great Spirit, source, consciousness, Father Sky, energy field up there. So those are the three places that I surrender into at all times. But I had a very specific process with that this morning. And that's actually, just to give you a little bit of reference, where the name rock star shaman comes from. It's that specific way of working shamanically and specific way of working with energies is through going down into rock, Great Mother Earth, and then going up into star consciousness field. And so my shamanic medicine and calling is working in those big macro fields of shamanism. Yes, I've been blessed to sit with and learn from some more specific ritual-based indigenous traditions, but my personal earth calling and mission comes from those big macro fields of rock and star, of earth and sky. So I just want to offer that. If you have already had a surrender moment, perhaps feeling into, does my soul feel like now is a good time to re-surrender into this new paradigm, this new earth that is so clearly birthing at this time? Or if you've never had a surrender moment, some people go into that process rather fluidly with no resistance. But I do want to share that if you have never surrendered before, it is natural if you do hit up against some resistances, if perhaps some fears arise, just because your soul can feel that it's about to let go into the cosmic dance of the co-creative systems between you and universe. And a lot of times when our soul can feel that it's about to expand in really, really monumental ways, some layers of resistance can come up. And that's very, very normal and natural. So before I go into a brief guided shamanic meditation to just send light and love and healing to all, I just want to tune in because I feel like there's a couple of other more tactical, practical things that want to come through. So just stand by for me, please. So yes, being compassionate with yourself, knowing that we are all recalibrating. For a number of days, I was really tuning into this, almost like this scramble egg energy, very scrambly systems. As for all of us, there's not really been a time on Earth where the entire planet and all of humanity and all beings are put into, as one of the other sisters shared, she was talking about the void. And that is so true. We are in this energy field of unknown. And those of us that walk the spiritual path and are devoted to these practices, most likely you have cultivated a bit of a navigational system within you where you're able to be in that void, in that abyss, where it feels completely dark and you can't feel where the edges are. You can't see what's out around you. You're just in that voided state. And yet you know how to trust and you know how to find your center in that state. But being compassionate, knowing that we're perhaps the less than 1% maybe of the population that has a devoted, committed spiritual way of practicing in this specific way. So remembering if people in your life are in a bit more of that scrambly state, just know they're trying to find their way, and they don't have the tools perhaps yet of knowing how, with grace and trust and that divine beautiful energy within, to navigate those unknown states, those voided areas. And one practical tool that I will give to you now regarding the void, the book and card deck that I'm writing right now, it's called Power Animals. So it's a lot about the spirit animals who are our helpers and our teachers. And one of the primary power animals associated with the void is the crow. So again, if this speaks to your soul in your next meditation, if you want to cultivate a deeper system within yourself of knowing how to navigate from your greatest divine power, this state of the void, call the crow in your meditation. Speak to the crow. Ask the crow if it has any energetic medicine that it wishes to provide to you for your empowerment. And just observe then when you invite that in, how does the crow interact with you? And ask the crow questions. You can have a very open dialogue with all of the spirit animals. So that's coming through. Just stand by again, please. And just really tuning in, it's moments like these, like this is why we were born. Those of you who have, again, aligned with the spiritual path and perhaps also have aligned with your calling and earth mission, it's times like this is why we chose to incarnate. So really tuning in again and asking yourself again, and right now, how can I be of greatest service? Because it looks differently. So I really try to be in a state of non-judgment as much as possible, because the way that another soul and their earth mission is here to be of service may look drastically different than mine or yours. And so it's really about trusting your integrity and trusting your soul's messaging to yourself, the way that you right now can be of highest, greatest earthly good for yourself and for all. And for some of you, that might look like just simply holding space, going to your altar, being more anchored and devoted and committed to your practices than ever, ever, ever before. And maybe it's just you energetically holding space. Perhaps some of you feel like taking more outward steps. One of my colleagues, meditation teacher Charlie Knowles, he's my friend, but one of his colleagues rather has started a program called A Million Masks, and I believe that's the Instagram handle, at A Million Masks. And this colleague is, gathering masks to be delivered to the different hospitals. My sister is actually, one of the people. She's a nurse working in a hospital, and I'm sure many of us know people that are on the front lines. And so perhaps sharing A Million Masks or supporting and donating to them, maybe that's one way you feel called to be of service. But tuning in meditation, maybe it's every morning. Maybe that's one of the intentions you set every morning when you're at your altar or in your meditation state, is tuning in that day and asking your heart and asking your soul, how can I be of greatest service for myself today? And letting that answer come in. And then how can I be of highest, greatest earthly service for all today? And then letting that answer move in. Perhaps some of you already got that hit of what the answer is. Let me just see. We're getting close to the meditation. So stand by 1 second. Cacao just came in. Some of you might already work with cacao. It's the heart opening medicine, but I really recommend it at this time. It's very grounding and an earthly medicine, and it's a heart medicine. So if you're new to cacao, I recommend getting it in the raw paste form. It comes in a brick. It's not processed. That's the ideal way that you would get it. I can pass along an indigenous elder whose land has come from unbroken lineage of cacao healers and farmers down in Guatemala. I can pass that email to Amelia if you want to try to get it in that particular form. I start my morning ritual, just really tune into the heart. Okay, let's go ahead and go into the meditation. If you happen to have a candle where you're at, go ahead and light it. Don't get up and go get one by any means, but if you just happen to have one, I'm going to light this particular candle that is super, super, super charged. This comes from the latest ceremonial time that I spent out in the desert with some of my indigenous teachers and mentors, working in ceremony out there. And part of that ceremony time, we lit this candle. So it's very, very powerful. So I light this candle now, and I just invite all of you to get hands-free for a moment. If you've had your journal or a pen, just go ahead and set it next to you. Close your eyes. Do your best to unclench your jaw. I know I've personally been holding a bit of extra stuff in my jaw area. So just doing a scan, tuning around your body. Maybe it's your neck or shoulders. Maybe it's the top of your head, the lobes of your brain, your eyes. Just do a scan and see where in your body you can release and let go a bit more. As our bodies are recalibrating and our central nervous systems are really, tuning into so much, it's really important that we tune in and remind our bodies that in this moment it is safe to soften. If you can sense any particular spot that does feel like it's still gripping, it's still clinging, like it's a little crunchy or hard, just go to that area now and just envision it melting like butter. Tell that area that it's safe to release, it's safe to let go. You can also ask that area now if it has any messages for you. What were you trying to tell me? And then begin to bring your inhale in through your nose and direct that inhale into your beautiful heart center. And this candle that I'm holding with this flame that is lit and supercharged by divine and great Mother Earth, I want you to invite the love and light and divinity of this flame into your hearts. Just allow it to clear away any untruths. Allow it to clear away any pain, any suffering. And as those systems lovingly with honor dissolve away, you now have some new beautiful open space in your heart center, that glowing green heart chakra. Allow the green to reveal itself. Just let the green of your heart center communicate what it needs to you now. Asking heart, how can I hear you more? And with your next few inhales, just allowing that breath to swirl around your heart center and to clear and brighten and open your heart chakra even more. Remembering how important it is that we do our best to live and operate from this space now more than ever. And remaining with eyes closed, you're going to hear just in a second some rattles. Just trusting, relaxing, releasing. And allowing the beautiful medicine that will be moved through the rattles to just enter into your auric field, your being, your cells, your chakras, wherever this medicine needs to go. As I begin to rattle, just tune in and see where this medicine is being guided most to go within you. Just be aware. And I want you to begin to envision your earthing and grounding cord emanating from the base of your spine, your root chakra. And envision your grounding cord. It's really healthy and thick and strong, robust, filled with strong immunity medicine. And allow your grounding cord to begin to release and burrow down through the floor and begins to burrow down into Great Mother Earth. And just allow this cord to dive deeper and deeper through the layers and levels of earth. Just being aware of what your cord passes through. Maybe it's a layer of crystals or a particular dirt medicine that Gaia wants to give you. Just see where your grounding cord wants to go within Gaia. And if it does pause and land somewhere, allow your grounding cord to receive that medicine. Of course, giving deepest gratitude and thanks to Gaia as you are now joining with her. Thank you, Great Mother, for the teaching. Thank you, Great Mother, for your endless love. And seeing now if your cord wants to burrow deeper, perhaps it wants to latch onto the underbelly of Earth, or maybe it wants to go into the alive, molten center core of her. Just let your grounding cord land. And once it's landed, open it up fully and ask Great Mother to send to you whatever messages, medicine, and guidance are needed for your highest, greatest earthly good at this time. And just allow that medicine to rise up into you now. Trusting as we continue on, that medicine will fill everywhere it needs to within you. Tuning into your heart again. Remembering from this place who you are, why you're here. And then tuning into the top crown chakra, right at the center top of your head. Letting your crown chakra open to the degree that it wants to today. See how wide or small your crown chakra wants to open right now. And then envisioning your source light beam, a light beam emanating from the crown and rising through the ceiling of the space you're in and entering into the fresh air. And your light beam rises and rises higher and higher through the clouds and through the star systems and galaxies. And it continues to rise higher and higher until it clicks into the source consciousness field. And it feels a bit like a suction cup. You'll know right when your light beam clicks into source consciousness field. I'll let you do that now. And once you're clicked in there, giving greatest, deepest thanks to Father Sky, to Great Spirit, God, Source Consciousness, thank you. And just observing, is there a love and light guide that's been waiting for you up there? Is there an animal? Is there a certain essence of energy that's been waiting for you up there for you to receive? Just tune in now. and allowing whatever messages, medicine, and guidance from Great Father Sky wishes to bless you to begin to gently cascade down your light beam and into your being now. Just trusting that that process will continue. As you remain up in the source consciousness field, if you do not yet have a particular spiritual guide that came to meet you or that you work with, Goddess Anya, the Celtic goddess of lightheartedness and playfulness, has been working with me a lot. If you feel called to invite her in, you can do so at this time. Perhaps there's an archangel. And now guiding your attention down your light beam back into your physical body and just being aware of all these beautiful energies harmoniously mixing within you. You're now a complete, beautiful balance of rock and star medicine and the divine love, light, truth, and wisdom that lives within your heart and your being. Just feel it all unifying, fortifying you, building up your immunity, mind, body, spirit, soul, seeing your energy field completely whole and healthy and vibrant, keeping you clear and who you are. And from this illuminated space as a collective, powerful group of humans now, let's send love, light, and healing energy out into the entire planet right now together. Perhaps you see that energy emanating as a healing green light, or perhaps it's divine, sparkling light frequencies and codes. Allow it to organically reveal for you, how does the healing love and light medicine that you are gridded with, how does it wish to go out to all of humanity and all of this planet now? And just allow this process to happen. Blanketing the entire field of our earth with this love and healing. And like a powerful curtain that's actually rising up, let's see a curtain of light rising up from the ground and just lifting up and covering the entire planet. We're lifting the vibration. We are lifting the frequency of this entire earth now together. See it bright and robust. See this new paradigm consciousness energy field going into any pockets of darker energies, going into any aspects that are ready to be dissolved with honor and gratitude. Allow the new divine energies to go there now and to transmute back to truth. Allow these highest frequencies to go into any willing souls and hearts who wish to remember their truth, who wish to transmute fear to love at this time. Any willing souls who wish to invite these frequencies in, we deliver it to them at this time. And sending love and gratitude and whatever medicine is needed to all of those working from a place of purity in the front lines. Give them whatever they need so they have the strength to carry on, mind, body, spirit, soul. Protect them, bless them, show them the way into all the hospitals, into all the homes where people have the virus. If those homes and people are willing to receive in these healing medicines, may it happen now. And through these powerful conduits and divine gateways we've created, we allow Great Mother Earth and Great Father Sky to send whatever messages, medicines, and guidance They wish to bestow upon the entire collective field now. We create space for them to do that now. Just see what enters in. Let's just hold one more moment of space to allow all these highest frequencies that we have assisted in conjuring and birthing. Just holding space for a few more seconds to really allow it to go everywhere it needs to go and take hold. For this last moment, keeping your eyes closed, just tuning in to the electrified energy field that is around you and within you now. You can tune into this space anytime you need throughout these processes. Trust in your magnificence. Trust that any new methods, rituals, practices that your being now needs will be revealed if you ask for them. And lastly, go ahead and tune into your heart and soul and ask it, how can I be of greatest service right now? Aho, and so it is. You can keep your eyes closed if you want to integrate in for another moment. If you feel ready, you can come back to me, and I will wrap up in just 1 second. Thank you all for bringing that. Just feel like one more piece is wanting to come in before I close. If that voided space is speaking to you, there is another practice. I write a monthly energy forecast that is posted both on my website, AllisonCharles.com or RockstarShaman.com, and also on wellandgood.com. And it's interesting because for the March forecast, I channel those in about a week at the end and of the previous month, and then write it for the upcoming month. And the rituals and everything that are in the March forecast happen to be around the void and the unknown. So there is an additional guided practice that can really be of powerful service for you or anyone that you might know that's struggling with this particular field that's so alive for everyone. Just please go to my website or Well and Good. You can just search my name in Well and Good, and the March, it's called the Rockstar Energy Forecast for March. And within it, there are various spiritual practices that came in to support everyone, myself included, for March. And then specifically, one of them is a practice for the void, for the unknown field. Okay, just one last tune in. I want to thank all of you for, being light carriers for this planet. Just have to keep holding the line and being loving and doing the best that we can. That's all we can do. For all of us, we're learning new fields. A lot of people have been messaging me and, oh, do you want to do this? Can you do this? And I just have not been in a active, this is the first active thing that I've done is today. I've just been learning, just been tuning in and accessing all these new fields of energy that are birthing, that are moving, and just doing the best I can to learn them. Who are you? What are you? How can I work with you? So just trust that we may be feeling things in an interesting new way. It's because we're literally birthing a new earth at this time, and trust that you will find your way. Okay, I will wrap it up from there. Thank you to Great Mother Earth. Thank you to Great Spirit, Father Sky. Thank you to all the traditions, teachers, Indigenous elders who have helped to show me the way, and honoring my own soul in the process. And thank you, Emily, for providing the platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sister. Thank you for that powerful medicine. I just want to take a moment to thank all of you. Thank you for sharing your light. Thank you for being here and creating this space together. It is so, so beautiful. Thank you for hanging in there. I know it's a long call, and one of the words that has kept coming up throughout this conversation has been trust and surrender. And so I'm so grateful to be able to hand it over to our last speaker, Joanne Muir, who is a somatic therapist and shaman, practicing for over 20 years. And she's going to be talking about radical trust and cellular change in this time of great transformation. So excited to hand it over to you. Hang on a second. Where are you? Does anyone? Oh, there you are. There you are.
Hi. I love that you had to do like a soul scroll to get there. I think that was amazing. It's like click, 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 click. And I'm just thinking of all these really beautiful souls that are sitting on this call, joining us today. And I'm laughing. I'm such a scribbler that my notes at the moment look like a beautiful mind. So perhaps I won't even delve into them as I'm sitting listening to everyone. And thank you, Allison, for the beautiful meditation and shamanic shifting. All my guides came in and said, we want to just start with a message, which may be simplistic, but they're so enthusiastic they won't stop saying this, which is be centering. Just they're saying we love you. We are so proud of you, and we are so grateful to you. They're speaking to the people on this call, but they're speaking to anybody like us who is willing to feel everything we spoke about today, the fears, the discomforts, the change, the anxieties, the doubt, we can't see in the dark, all these souls that are showing up to do this work. They're so proud of us, and they're saying, they're sort of clapping, which maybe we don't. Maybe this is not resonating with everyone. My guys are very funny. They're like, yay, you're doing it. You were born for this time. You were born for this time. We chose this existence and this incarnation for this time. Depending on what your belief system is, if you believe in reincarnation, there's many of us, my soul sisters on this call too, that know that we might have done this before in Atlantis era, Lemurian era. Here we are again, and we're so committed to get it right this time, right? And this is why we come together like this. Not because there's a right or a wrong, but we're committed to the path of human evolution. And one of the things that trust means for me, to sort of get to this topic of trust, is that can we trust that this is in our favor? I'm probably not going to say anything that we haven't heard today. Thank you to all the beautiful messages and the really incredible tools that have been shared with us. But radical trust is, can I go beyond this level of trust that I already have? My shaman and I speak a lot. Do we believe in this work? Do we believe in this work so much that we can apply it every day? This is not a theory and concepts page. None of us on this call are in theories and concepts. We're here to do the work. And so when I think of trust, I think of it in every moment. And am I applying that? Can I really trust that this is in our highest good? And I think one of the speakers was saying, we can almost look back and remember that we have been supported before, that we wouldn't have got to this if there weren't other times that we'd moved through fear when we were speaking about fear. So it's to remember and to allow ourselves to be in this trusting place of, this is not up to us to have to fix. This is up to us to feel, right? Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can get to some of my notes. So as Emily was saying, I'm a somatic therapist first. Psychotherapeutic bodywork was the way into the field for me. And what I think is so genius about the body, it is a micro version of the macro. So the body is the manifested version of the soul. Sometimes people say the body houses the soul. I'd like to say the body is the soul in a physical and in all these energetic planes. And so we have the ability to transmutate at every second of the day. Our cells are regenerating every second of the day. We are in motion every second of the day. And as we were talking about fear, sometimes we get to fear and we freeze. And so many of the people that I'm looking at right now, whether I'm looking at them energetically or in person, they're here. Their energy body is up in the clavicles. It's up in the throat. It's up in the jaw. I think as Allison was just saying, right? It's up here. And it's so interesting to watch us all together share this space of and frozen. And so there's so many things we can do to work back down into the body, obviously receiving even sound and shamanic journeying as we just did. But I wanted to talk about today as how we can do this for ourselves. So rattling was one of the things I was going to bring up. If we're all at home, maybe you have a can of something that you can shake if you can't go buy a rattle, right? But we can make sound, and we can also make sound with voice. So one of the best things we can do when we're scared is hear our own voice. Whether it's a really audible exhale, when Erin was doing our meditation in the beginning, and when we exhale from a deep breath, actually hear our voice. But one of the things we can also do is just chant our mantra. I am safe. I trust. I am here. I feel. There's an ingrained vibration and resonance with our own voice that actually has safety in it. There are many, many things. We're going to be offering, I know, more information. I'm going to be mindful of time, and I know we've had a lot of information coming in today. So I'll be offering a little bit more specifics. But we can also chant some of the deep, sacred chants that are available to us, whether it's something like Om Namah Shivaya, Aham Prema is a beautiful chant that means I am divine love. So Hum is a chant that means I am. Saying them out loud or saying them internally is really powerful. The beautiful thing about Sanskrit or chanting in what we call whole and complete languages is it's a direct channel to source. Sometimes when we speak in English, it's a derivative and it might lose a little of divine connection. Also, our mental energy recognizes those words and often does something with it. I'll be sending these obviously so we can work with them. If you'd like to work with them internally, another thing you can do when you're working with balancing chakras, as we've been speaking about today, is you can actually chant and use your fingers as if you're planting the seed of the chant into each chakra, each time you chant. And feel, right? One of the most beautiful teachers that I ever worked with said, the shortest distance between 2 points is intention. We spoke today about using attention or imagination. This is how we start to bridge that gap between the physical and the non-physical, or something being medicine or just a theory. We can make any tool we have medicine. I love that we were speaking about plants and working with cacao, and thank you for that. Another thing coming through from guidance is to work with holy basil. She's a beautiful, beautiful adaptogen. And so as we're adapting, as we're letting our cells and our self, our CELLF, right, adapt to these times, transmutate, evolve. Evolution is past this moment. Maybe we don't go back to where we were. Maybe we do go forward to a new normal. And how great would that be for so many of us? As all of us have been saying today, and I'm sure everybody on this call believes, we've been praying and dying for this change to come. And so many times dying just came through. And I literally think it came through for a reason. This is a death of sorts. And that it's happening collectively is such a gift. Oh my goodness. If anybody's been feeling this, the level of stillness is so beautiful. I think about how we all come together sometimes to meditate together. Some of my clients say, oh, I have a hard time meditating. Like, well, meditate with a group. You'll sink in so much quicker. If we're channeling together, it's amazing how many people can bring in energies and guidance and entities and totems. And I'm sitting in meditation these days, and I can feel the whole world being stilled. This is such a gift. I was laughing with a friend the other day. I said, you don't get to do FOMO right now. There's no fear of missing out, right? This is togetherness. This is a stillness that has been gifted to us. And for me, and I'm sure for many of us, stillness is a divine feminine property. This is the medicine of goddess. Divine feminine knows how to sit, be still, receive, and sit some more. She knows how to not jump and react at the first message that she gets. It is time to sit. It is time to be still. It is time to work through the layers, sink more and more into the body, and go through the veils of Maya, illusions. And even when we get to a piece of truth, can we sit more and go deeper in and find a different truth? The Buddhists say, ask a question, and when you get an answer, ask another question. Isn't this what we say in modern day world? Unpack that. Keep unpacking that, right? I love that term. Let's get into that Pandora's box, right, that we were speaking about today. Let's keep unpacking what's underneath what we thought was true for us. Keep asking. One of the beautiful tools of shamanism, one of the things I love about shamanism is they say, be like a cloud. And so for me, cloud medicine is not that the wind comes around and parts and goes around the cloud. It goes through the cloud. And as it goes through the cloud has to shapeshift, right? Perhaps there's a hole in it. Perhaps it divides in two. Perhaps it goes from one image to a completely different image. This is a medicine to us. Maybe in all the time that we have, we can lay on the ground and reset our chakras and watch the clouds and let the clouds teach us how to do this. Show us. Show us how to do this. One of my favorite prayers, I know nothing about this, show me. And oh my gosh, how relevant right now. Who in this world knows anything about this, knows anything about this? We are all in this together. We've never been through something like this. And yet, thank you to all the other presenters, we know how to do this. This is a very deep knowing. This is a very deep response to many of our prayers. Show us, help us. We don't have to do this on our own. And so in many, many ways, my radical trust has been up recently in the, oh my gosh, this is it being done for us. And so as I'm radically trusting, I'm radically self-caring because we've been given the space to do this. Many people are sharing on social media. I love social media for the sharing at the moment of, could you share all your little gratitudes? So yesterday I went for a walk in the park, and it's so beautiful to see more people in the park than I've ever seen, right? Because they're off work, because the gyms are closed. Doesn't really matter. Just seeing this makes me really happy. But noticing how people are dancing around each other because they're trying to be mindful of space, right? So it's a totally different dance in the park right now. And as I'm walking, I'm watching, oh my gosh, people are learning a whole new dance. It's always been a dance between us and the universe, us and each other, right? I have a really good friend who does this work with me. He's a Jersey boy, and he said, yes, sometimes it's a ballerina and sometimes it's a mosh pit, right? And I love that playfulness. Yes, it's a dance, but sometimes the dance is like, oh my gosh, I have 2 left feet. I have no idea what I'm doing. I need to learn the steps. What is going on? But the more we do the steps, the more we're like, I don't really care. It's just interpretive dance anyway, right? Someone was saying we all have our unique place and purpose here. And with that, our unique voice, message, action, whether we're space holders or activists. And it's a beautiful symphony. And if it wasn't for every frequency and vibration, we wouldn't be what we are on a global level. And in order for the whole symphony to change, each frequency has to change. And when I'm looking at people these days, so many clients are calling in with a very personal reason to call, which of course makes sense. But I'm watching this big magnifying glass on each individual. And it's not just a magnifying glass, it's a magnifying glass with the sun shining through it, right? It is amplified burn off of our stuff right now. And we may squirm, and it may be uncomfortable, and it may be hot, or it may be gnawing at our egos, but we are being helped. And as we work through every day, guidance is reminding me to say the other beautiful image they were giving me in the park the other day, which is the space that has been created for us, the space that has been created for us, they're saying, for us, a gift, is so beautiful to watch because our energy fields are huge, and yet we live like this. Someone else was speaking about gripping midline. We don't fill our space. In many, many ways, we can't fill our space as we build up and we, close talk and we have to be on subways or we have to be in offices or we have to be whatever. We don't even know how big and beautiful and expansive we are. And we have been given the opportunity to feel the massive beauty of our auras, the massive beauty of our full existences here. In body work, it's beautiful to listen in dialogue. Every organ has a rhythm. And they go toward midline. They go toward where we were when we were in the birth canal. And then they go away from that place where we were. And they cycle like this all day. And it's so beautiful to listen to them because we can tell whether they're happy or not happy or what they're communicating. But I love that they remember home. They don't leave home and then leave that spot and then leave that spot and then leave that spot. They return home every 6 to 12 cycles or something. I have to refer to my notes. Each one of them different, I think. And then the cranial rhythm, also a motion. As it moves down the spinal column into the sacrum, back up the spinal column, expands into the cranial vault, nourishes the brain, spinal cord, and then does it again. And I always encourage to people, we have nature as medicine. If you can, if you're lucky, although our beaches are closed in Florida now, but if you can get to water and let the water entrain, sync up cranial rhythms. Maybe you hear a woodpecker and you let the woodpecker be the rattle for you in a minute. Sitting with nature and doing what we call entrainment, for me, is another form of trust. I trust that I can be treated and healed in this moment by anything that's around me, that every sound means something, that everything that flies by means something. So while we have these moments of stillness, let's use these practices to help us. I know a lot of people work with essential oils and all these different really beautiful products. I'm a big believer in making your own salt scrubs if you can and using them on chakras. I would say right now that guidance has been showing me for a lot of people working with thymus and working with heart in a very gentle way. So I know lots of people know tapping, EFT. I love tapping work. But they're sort of showing me right now a little bit more, somebody said this too, also being gentle right now, gentle, soothing the throat. Maybe we're scared. Maybe we don't know what to say. Maybe we help our third eye open and see. Let's not be scared to see. Some of the practices they were asking me to share, I'll share more on what we're going to send out to everybody to, is to do breath work. This seems like a very obvious sharing to give you in the moment, but really, really do breath work. Not just saying, breathe, everybody, you're going to be fine. Work with breath work. Find a breathwork practitioner, find anything on YouTube. I love alternate nostril breathing. So using either pinky and thumb, whatever combinations work for you. But one of the reasons I'm saying this, and you would breathe, inhale through one nostril and exhale, and then do the same on the other side. But they're showing me that this will really help the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. And one of the things that I've been seeing really off on clients is their sphenoid is completely, people's craniums look like a Picasso painting at the moment. And though I'm laughing out of sweetness, we're just so like, oh my gosh, we're going through a complete disorganization, but we're sort of in the middle of it, right? It's like somebody cut one side of my hair, but not the other yet. It's sort of like, oh gosh, I hope you finish the other side before this transmutation is over. Be patient. Be patient. We're still in the middle of this. And although I completely love what was said about we're already done with this, I get that. I get where we're coming from. The physical body might still be going through this. Obviously, as someone else was typing, so will the ripple effect be in our communities, economically and such. And so will the ripple effect be through people who are, now when I say this, I don't mean this in a hierarchy way, at different levels of consciousness. So have us, why guidance is saying, thank you so much, we love you, we love what you're doing here, have us either be this light, shine in this way after we connect and do our work, but also, as someone else was saying, share your positivity. And what I had written down to also share today, which was so beautiful from that, is receive it. When we're in the, I don't know if this is going to work out for me, sometimes a beautiful light worker in the form of a friend or a stranger might be saying, oh no, I see this for you. I see this being an opportunity. And sometimes we're sort of like, la, 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 la. Not that I've ever been in resistance to good guidance, but I'm the perfect this, right? But see if we can receive. Okay, I don't know if I believe you right now, but got it. Can we just say thank you? Pain is always in the resistance, right? Trust that's a message for us. And receive. Trying to see if guidance wants to give anything. I'm seeing the sound ceremony we did. I'm seeing everything. I think we do need to, they were talking about vectors. It's just another sort of tip. So we all live on energy grids. And at the moment, for obvious reasons, everybody looks a little bit off their energy grids. A really, really, really basic way to sync back up with that is just basic yoga. Or moving around on the floor in any way that you want. In other words, not everybody knows yoga, although I'm sure we all have a computer. But they're sort of showing basic, simple alignment poses. And 5 minutes will sync us right back up to these energy grids. To reset chakras, they're saying all we have to do is lay down. They are suggesting ground, not couch or bed. If you can get on ground, dirt, even better. And laying sort of in an anatomical position where you're almost in a shavasana, and using this intention, using this attention, as we were speaking about today, using imagination and using trust that our body knows how to do this, trust that we have help, trust that with our intention and attention, we can do this for ourselves. And just ask the spinning wheels of your chakras to balance up in this way that we've been saying, symphony, connection. You don't necessarily have to start at the bottom and work up or work top and work down. I always just lie and receive, and almost just like a clock, like pendulums in a room, watch them sync up. It will take at least 5 minutes. Please don't do these things with haste. Wayne Dyer used to say, what do you get when you squeeze an orange? And I'm seeing so much love and orange juice pour out of people right now, even under the fear. Even under that is love for each other. I'm so blessed that we're all on this call today to do that. I can't thank you enough for doing the work that you're doing in the world, because I know a deep knowing that everybody is shedding so much light and so much love and so much support and offering tools. Em and I were talking the other day. I said, this is the time for tools and tribes for me. calling on my tribes and using every tool I have. And thank you also, Allison, for saying the tools that used to work often don't work anymore. So you will find in this time of stillness and play and playing with what works for you, that you will find new tools. We are coming to a new future. This is where we will need new tools. So as silly as they sound, go with them. Many years ago, as we were coming into 2012, my tribe and I sat together and we were like, we're going to need a new backpack full of tools. And we just threw out stuff. Do we need fairy dust? Do we need, what do we need? Play. This is the path of shamanic work for me, is to play and let that play become real. Support each other, dance more, breathe more, chant more, sunshine more, if you are lucky enough to be in a place where you have it as I do. And really just a big, big, big thank you. If anybody wants to join me, I'm just going to do a tiny integration piece, a somatic integration piece, taking your two hands out, crossing them, twisting them and crossing them and interlacing your fingers and bringing them up and to your heart. Closing your eyes and taking a couple of really deep breaths, maybe even tuning your eyes toward your third eye. So looking up to the center of your forehead, your pineal and your pituitary gland, the third eye. Feeling the recentering and the grounding into the soma and the body. And if you choose, you can uncross and change which hand is on top and bottom and do it again. Some of the tools I will share in the email that we're sending are these physical brain integration type tools that can help us also when we're just feeling so physically off and we need a very instant reset. We're going to do some closing work together. So I will say thank you so, so much for being in this circle today and for the opportunity to speak, share, and connect with you all. Many blessings. Aho.
Aho. Love you, Jo. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful, so helpful. Thank you all. I want to acknowledge two people on the call, my dear friends, Chitra Prasad Patel and Gina Masio. They were going to be helping us with the Q&A portion of today, but obviously we are way over time today, and a lot of just amazing wisdom, tools, guidance has come through, and we're so grateful. We are going to be recording a Q&A and sending it out afterwards. So if you do have questions, leave them in the chat or send me an email. We'll send them out along with all the resources. And thank you again. I'm going to hand it over to Amelia and Maya for the closing prayer and sound healing.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you to everyone who's still here. We know that while you may not have places that you're going, you have other things that may need your attention. So it's really beautiful that you guys chose to stay. I have the great honor of introducing a very, very dear friend of mine who has also been instrumental in my own healing and learning process. My friend Maya McNeil, who's here today, is a bodywork-based healthcare practitioner, ceremonial musician, songwriter, and daydreamer. And their mission as a healer and activist is to dissolve the concepts of superiority and inferiority and help activate full understanding of one another. So their music carries very deep medicine and is offered with the intent to remind us who we are and the ways that we belong to each other. So they're here today to offer a song, which is also a prayer. And our invitation to you is to tune in for deep listening, letting go of all external distractions. If you have been on your phone or writing in your journal, just being willing to set that aside now and setting your heart to tend to this vibration. And so they'll offer a song and then a short exposition of what the song means, and then I'll close us with a prayer. And so one invitation that I will extend to you now is if there's a certain name of God or name of the divine that really resonates with you and you'd like that name elevated in prayer when we close today, please feel free to share that name in the chat, recognizing that we'll do our best to honor all the names and forms of God as well as the divine beyond those names and forms. So Maya, I will turn it over to you and let us listen. We can't hear you yet, sister. Still can't hear you. You might check your zoom.us menu, the preferences, and make sure that you're picking up your mic, and that it's not set to your internal mic. I hear something.
This?
Yay! We gotcha.
Okay. I'm gonna switch it back over to the other mic shortly, but thank you so much, Emily, for organizing this. Thank you so much to everybody that's spoken today and all the folks that are tuning in. It's really an honor and a gift to be here with you all. And everything that was shared, my cup feels super full, and I hope you feel the same. And from just what I've been distilling and listening to, I offer this song, which is called Mainstream, which is kind of a sacred tongue-in-cheek reference to Creator, to God, to whatever we name that, which is beyond our comprehension and understanding. That sacred force and how it's woven within us here at in this planet, this time. And I offer it to all of you, to your vehicle, and how you are taking all that macrocosmic information, all of these ways that we're sharing light information really quickly and really bringing it down into this physical and corporeal world, which is really calling us to step into action and out of our words and into action. How are we showing up? What are we willing to actually let go right now as these systems are crumbling? And how are we willing to take the tools that we have and that we're able to share to really tend to our minds right now as our minds experience death of so many things that we're used to, so we can actually show up instead of, what are we going to choose? Are we choosing to try to cling on to old ways of comfort, or are we moving into this greater strength and comfort that is something maybe we've never experienced before? A lot of us as socialized white folks, and what many indigenous folks of this planet have been experiencing for a long time, that we're being invited to take care of together finally, and take responsibility where we can. So I offer this song to each and every one of your precious warrior hearts. I look forward to connecting further in this continuum that we're building together. I'm just going to test this sound to make sure this is working. Can you hear this? Okay. As we walk to the closing of this gathering and into this next form of meditation, which is a birthright of each and every one of us, which is the format of song, just invite you again to get into a comfortable place and to really connect into that core place that's been really activated and worked, and that you've had a lot flowing through in this moment, and to really just receive this as best as possible as a gift to you.
The wind blows wild down the mountain, ancient, older than time. Find patience, breathe in that oxygen. Ride the wave of your life. You remind me of the main stream, singing high up in the pine trees and in the rain. Not the one we see on TV, not the shadow realities, but the one we know in our soul. Northbound, snow falling to the ground. We've gone this way before. There's a silence that has divided, that cannot live here anymore. As we remember the mainstream rising up in our memory, do you see it now in your periphery? In the night I feel it walking, moonlight doing all the talking, wandering like a stream through my veins. As I remember, lay your body on the seashore. Recall what you came here for. The wind blows softly through your plastic clothes, asking each time, don't you want more? Wanna dance under the mainstream, Milky Way around us shining. What will you give in this letting go? Nothing hidden, nothing hiding, all the roads are intertwining. Tell me now, do you wanna go? Ooh. Our altars, these walking bones. Our altars, these are wandering bones. In the fall, we found our way. Such a long time coming to today. In the fall, we found our way. Such a long time coming. We remember the mainstream, hear the song of belonging to this place of wild grace. World of minerals and lightning, young and old and ancient shy things, awakening from the land. Oh, the secret secrets of this place for a short time. We get to stay. Sanjiva, blessings to all of your family, to your ancestors, to every single person that stands behind you, in this moment in time, calling upon you, trusting in you, believing in you, even when you can't believe in yourself, to stand in that medicine, in that beauty way. That's all of ours to tend to and take care of, and to make sure that we can pass it down and that we can share it, and that everybody gets to pass this down to their babies, to our future descendants. Aho, Ashe, Amen, Sanjiva.
I invite you to stay in the sacred space at the altar of your heart where you find yourself now. And if there's a mudra that resonates for you, folding your hands, bring your prayer hands to your heart. Perhaps placing your hands in a downward pointing triangle, yoni mudra, placing that on your womb, or reaching both arms up to the sky to draw down the moon. Any gesture that feels sacred and holy and true to you in this altar of your bones, as so beautifully described by my dear sister. Coming into this space of acknowledgement of the connection that exists between you and that which is greater than yourself. Any name or form that you connect with or identify with, we call on now. Holy Father, Divine Mother, Great Spirit, God beyond all names and forms, to you we lift up this prayer. Whether we know you by love, by nature, by the void, to you we lift up this prayer. Recognizing those 7 sacred directions by which we orient ourselves, by which we find our way, and calling them in, calling in the east, the air, the truth that blows through us, that clears the way, calling in the south, the sacred fire, the creativity that burns in us, calling in the west and the waters of our emotions, of our tears, of our blood, of the oceans that cover this planet, calling in the north, the rock, the molten magma, the layers of crystal, the supportive foundation that allows us to find firm footing, the mother below us, sky, father, star nation above us, and the 7th sacred direction, which is you and me. Finding ourselves here, recognizing our own sacredness, our own holiness, and feeling it reverberate in our body, through our heartbeat, through our breath. We say thank you. Thank you for our lives. Thank you for this opportunity to be here in this time and to search for understanding and meaning, and to serve in the ways that we are able to serve with these feet and these hands and these hearts and these voices. We pray right now that all of our vessels would be used in service of elevation of the whole. We lift up the people right now who do not have the access that they need, the resources that they need, and we pray that they would be tended to, that they would be blessed, and that our actions in some way would contribute to that service so that we can tend to each other. I pray for the needs of each heart that is on this call right now, as deep cries out to deep right now, that your spirit connected to the Great Spirit would be able to cry out in radical trust, in deep faith, from that space beyond fear, knowing that it's on its way. And I open just a few moments of silence right now so that each voice can lift in your own space to honor the names of God, to honor the names of the loved ones that you need to pray for, to honor the names of your ancestors who have gone before you, to honor the names of your children who you're praying for their future, for their hope. I open up a few moments of silence now. Let your own voice rise. May each of us use this opportunity of stillness to make connection with the land that we get to be still upon. May we take this as an opportunity to find more understanding of what came before and our place in it, so that we can dream a new dream, so that we can weave a new future together, recognizing that each of us is an essential thread in this incredible tapestry of life. Thank you for bringing your heart. Thank you for bringing your vision. I pray that you leave this space elevated, and that from you reverberating out into your family, into your community, into humanity and the collective beyond humanity, beyond this earth, this planet. I pray that the reverberation ripples outward in service of all sentient beings, in service of the foundation of being that holds it all. And for any needs that have gone unspoken, for any prayers that have been unnamed, I lift these up in grace, trusting that they are now covered. Thank you for this time. In every holy name that each of us lifted up, and to you as you know yourself, Creator God, beyond all names and forms, we lift up this prayer. Aho, Ashe, Shalom, Amen. Let yourself take one deep, rich, full breath in through the nose, breathing down into the belly, into the womb space, into the rib cage, the heart, the chest. Breathing in all of the life energy that's been cultivated here. And as you exhale, a big sigh out the mouth, let yourself come back into your body, into this space, this time. Thank you for gathering. And Emily, thank you for bringing us together.
About it, and I don't trust anyone. But
Thank you all so much. So much love. Gratitude. Thank you.
I'm going to share one more thing with anyone who is still here. If you appreciated Maya's music and you'd like to check out her Patreon, I think we're going to send that in the email. Emily, I'll send that to you. And also, she and I will be weaving some music, sound, and breath opportunities later this week. So if you're still here because you're just soaking in the goodness and want more, we'll make sure that we send that. So thank you guys again for being here. I don't know whose sound we're picking up, but someone's loud and proud.
I just want to say thank you again to everyone for joining. This has been beyond what I could have possibly imagined. Such a elevation in my own energy, and I know for all of us. Gosh, just so beautiful. If you have questions, if you want to connect further, leave them in the chat, please, so that we can answer all questions, or email me separately. We are going to be holding a series of these gatherings. So if you like this collective gathering and sharing and holding space and exchanging resources and tools, there'll be more of these coming up, and just so excited to connect with everyone more. So thank you. Wow. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Love you.